What's up, guys? This is Matt Jones. We are, oh my God, I already fucked it up. I don't know what to say to begin. I don't even give a shit. I'm like, this is just going to go at the end after the music. Like, that's what I did last week, and it was pretty funny. So, whatever. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm so done. All right.
And it doesn't get any easier as you go on either. No, is the best part.
Unbelievable. All right. If I just knew time zones, all this could have been avoided. But all right. What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode of Bogey Free. I am joined by I can't call him legendary anymore, but Jason, and I'm going to butcher the last name. I'm assuming it's Wedgman because of the wedge thing, but
it's actually Wiegman, but
me and Evan had this argument before and he was right.
I'm sorry he's not here to gloat about it.
Oh, I know. Don't worry, I'll hear about it anyway. But welcome on, man. I appreciate you coming on. We had a little pull the curtain back. We had a little snafu with a time zone issue because I'm a moron. But we're here now. Unfortunately, Evan's not able to join us tonight, so it's just going to be the two of us breaking down the BMW Championship. So, how are you today? What's going on?
I'm doing wonderful this evening and getting ready to wrap this PGA DFS season up. Started up again like 2 weeks or whatever it is, 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now. Taking a little time off in between here. So enjoy football for a couple weeks, but crank out one last sound, at least somewhat reasonable week to play DFS golf this week. So
yeah, next week will be a little brutal with just 30 guys, obviously. But so before we even get to that, though, let's talk some BMW here. We are actually having the tournament up at Conway Farms Golf Club. This is the third time that the tournament has been held at this course. We're looking at a par 71 again this week, and it's a little bit over 7,200 yards. So not long, not short either, though. Sort of right in the middle. So is there anything in particular this week that you're looking at when you're looking to pick golfers this week?
I know that's played here a couple times in the past. I've actually been to this event both times, in 2013 and then in 2015. And the weather this year is a little bit different than it has been in the past years. 2013 is probably the closest of the two, okay. Due to the fact that it was at least somewhat dry and a little bit warmer the first 3 days. Then I believe Sunday it just downpoured and they basically washed out all of Sunday and ended up finishing on a Monday when Zach Johnson ended up winning the thing. Mm-hmm. And then last time it was extremely wet. We were there on Thursday. It poured I don't even think they finished a round on Thursday, and then they played Lift Clean in Place on Friday and Saturday. So when you go back and kind of take a look at this event the last couple times, I think you have to be kind of cautious. And this is generally what I do first: is kind of look at how the course played and how it's going to play and the differences you might have in setup. So if you look back to 2013, there's a little more. It was a little bit harder, a little more of a run out. I know on the last day it was cold and cool and breezy. So you got a different looking scoreboard, leaderboard, I should say, versus the most recent time where it was just more like bombs away kind of course. Overall, for what I'm looking for at this course, I'm going to look for guys that are good approach. It's a really solid approach game. I think that's where it's going to be, or the money's going to be made. I think because it's been a little bit drier, you'll probably get a little more run out on some of these holes. Most of the I think it's 2 of the 3 par 5s are pretty well reachable. Right. The 18th is definitely reachable. And I think that really it's going to come down to whoever, I think this is probably the case most weeks, whoever's iron game is on the most, and then get a little hot with the putter and ride it through victory. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I was looking through the history, obviously, and it's anytime that there's only 2 years to go off of, it's obviously going to be, pretty difficult to nail it down, especially if conditions are different the 2 times that we're looking. But you're right. The par 5s on the back 9 definitely piqued my interest there because they both actually play the same distance, 585. A couple of real short par fours. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking for at least a little bit of distance, and like you said, obviously guys who are striking the ball well, especially recently. I've been playing around a little bit with my sort of process for PGA as we wrap up this year, and I've been using the Fantasy National quite a bit, and just sort of narrowing down how recent form has been versus rather than just say, oh, he's first all year, but if he's sucked for the last 3 weeks, then
right.
how much does that really? How much do you want to factor that in? So
yes, I can understand that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's sort of been like I think a leak a little bit in my own process recently. I've been just pulling the season long stuff and looking through and not really diving in as deep as I wanted to. So I'm trying to get better at that as we move forward and head into next year.
Yes.
So
it's definitely a newer thing. I'm surprised it took so long for fantasy golf to kind of catch. It's kind of disappointing to me, to be honest with you, that people are starting to catch on to it, but it's because it makes sense. Kind of takes away a little bit of that edge where people would look at, oh, look, he's first in whatever. And that was all his or first in scoring. And he played the first 6 events that were score fests.
Right. Exactly.
So it kind of throws it off. I also would like to throw out here, I don't think you have to be deadly accurate off the tee here. I think you can get away with a little wildness off the tee at times. It's not overly tight. There is some longer fescue and some of the roughs a little bit deeper, but if the hole's playing 350 and they're hitting out of the rough, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem for a guy to flop a wedge up from 75 versus hitting 220 into a green out of some roughs. So I think a little wildness off the tee here will be acceptable at times, depending on how wild it is, of course.
All right, so just all the Justin Thomas then. So we're
yes,
fine.
Exactly.
So let's just all right.
All right, we're done.
Right. Good episode. Just 100% Justin Thomas. Good luck, everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and dive in? Let's we have 5 golfers up above 10K this week. You have Spieth, DJ, Fowler, Rahm, and Thomas. With the pricing the way that it is this week, you really can't afford 2 of these guys. Like mathematically, you definitely can't play Spieth and DJ at the same time. So how are you sort of separating these guys as you're looking through?
This is an interesting week, and in the sense that, like you said, you can't really play these multiple of these guys. As we go down, I might as we go down and work our way down further, it might come to this. I'll probably play basically GPP. I usually play about 80% cash and 20% GPP. With the no cut this week, I might take a roundabout approach and target lower guys at a higher percentage. Because normally what I'll do is I'll do a core of like 1 or 2 of the top guys and just hammer them 70, 80% or more, and then float in the bottom. In a week like this, where I maybe feel a little more confident about some guys in the bottom being the better value amongst the people on the bottom, I might go heavy down there and rotate more at the top, because I think there's not a single guy in here that I think is a weak fit at all. I think my favorite play out of here is probably, even though we just said Thomas, I'm going to say Spieth. I think the iron game is very strong. Obviously, results have been very strong. With coming off 2 second place finishes and a 28th, 13th, and 2 wins in a row before. So he's got 4 top 2s in the last 4 or 6 events. So I'm not really pointing out anything very.
Is that good?
Yeah, right. So I know he's played decent here in the past. 16th and 13th. Yeah, I think he comes in probably a little bit, I don't know, necessarily better form than 2015, because I'm pretty sure, is 2015 the year he won the FedEx Cup by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's not like he came in bad that year, but
Right.
on a second shot course, as good as he's been with the irons, he's going to be my favorite play up here.
Okay.
How
That's
about
fair.
what do you think? What do you think? I mean, this is, as we said, Thomas, all the Thomas, and I couldn't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think unless you're like really trying to be argumentative, I don't think you could make a strong case against any of these guys, to be totally honest. Like
Right.
the one thing, if you do want to knock somebody, right? And I love Ricky, but I was looking through his proximity stuff lately, and his wedges have been sort of, I don't know, they've been going away lately. Like I think it was like 75 to 125 feet. He was, or 125 yards. He was like losing 8 or 9 feet in proximity to the field, which I thought was kind of wild. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Obviously, he's had he's been in the top 20 the last 2 weeks. He had a good showing at the PGA. But he's been sort of bailed out by his putter a little bit. So if you're looking for something out of those 5 guys, maybe that's who you get away from because of that. But I mean, I'm gonna have mostly Rahm and Thomas. I just feel like Rahm really has a good shot. Third and fourth the last 2 weeks. And I love his game and I love the way that he's playing right now. So that's where I'm probably going to gravitate towards, but you can't just outright fade any of these guys because you're just going to be giving away money, I think.
Yeah, I mean, generally what we find in these FedEx Cup events is the top players are multiple of the top players are near the top.
Right.
And then you got to like I said, I know it seems completely backwards, but this is a week where I might just kind of pinpoint some lower guys and maybe be a little bit heavier on Spieth and Thomas and a little bit less on the other guys. But really, all these guys can win. I guess that's all I can really say up here. It's hard to disagree with you though. Fowler would probably be the weakest of my case up here. Also, I would agree with that.
All right, so yeah, let's head down through the next these next 5 guys who are all falling 9K. We got Hideki Bot, Jason Day, Rory, Casey, and Brooks Koepka. So, I mean, I think this is where if you hit one of these guys this weekend, I think you can make some money on DraftKings. That's sort of where I'm feeling like. I think ownership is going to be reasonably spread out in that range, just because of the way that the pricing is set up. I think Rory will probably go a little less owned out of that range, but for the most part, it seems like they'll see similar ownership to me. So is there somebody you have a strong take on in that range there?
My favorite 2 in that range are easily Day and Casey.
Okay.
Though there's a strong this is tough. There's a strong case you can make for Matsuyama. Rory just hasn't been right, and you really have to wonder, is he just kind of playing out the schedule here? Mm-hmm. We heard at the PGA, we weren't sure if he was going to play in the FedEx Cup playoffs, and then he has, but he didn't look very well or very good at the Dell Championship. Kind of fell apart. Brooks, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't played better in the playoffs. This is the kind of guy that we always talk about. Like, he is more interested in physical sports than golf. Like, I think he's actually said he prefers other sports over golf. It must suck to be that good at golf. I'd rather play something else.
I know that totally rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that interview. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You didn't get to play in Major League Baseball, but you get to golf for a living. Like, woe is me. Like, get the hell out of here.
I know, right? Of all the things to fall back on to, oh, man, it sucks. You got to play. I'm a major champion now, and I have to play golf, I guess. Yeah, so, I mean, I really love, as for being a heavy GPP week, is there anyone outside of maybe Justin Thomas that reminds you more? I mean, at some point, is Day going to win again? I just feel like it's been forever. It has been. It's been the players, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been.
And an event where this guy can score. He's played well here in the past. Obviously, he won here. Like we said, that was lift, clean, and place. But even in 2013, when he wasn't the same golfer he even nearly was in 2015, obviously, he finished T4 here. So he's gotten around here both ways when the course is set up two completely separate ways and it played differently. I like Day. And then I know Paul Casey's wife just had their child yesterday or the day before, so I'm not sure how much practice time he's gotten in here or if that'll cause a hangover, but so that might be a narrative street of why to avoid. But can you deny what this guy has done?
No way. He's got baby swag. I'm all over Casey. No way.
This guy's iron game is on fire. I mean, and it has been. You look back, he had only one bad event with the irons. That was a career builder. He's pretty much, he's lost to 0.6 at the Travelers, finished 5th. And at Sony, he had one of the worst putting performances ever and missed the cut. But since then, a guy's averaging, what is he having, about 5 strokes approach? Off the tees on fire. He rolled it well with the putter last time, which was a bonus. I just have a hard time ignoring Paul Casey.
Oh, for sure. I'm completely with you on that. And just a random thing that I noticed about the Travelers too. It's like he didn't putt and he didn't hit his irons well, and he came in 5th. Like, honestly, like, I don't know. It's wild. Like, since the Masters, he's had one finish outside of the top 25, and that was the 26th at the US
Open. Right? Isn't that absurd? I mean, this is. I think it would be a really great story if Paul Casey hasn't won in God knows how long. What he finished I think he finished in the top 5 last year in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Mm-hmm. This year, maybe he goes into the last event, tie 5th. He's in the top 5, hasn't won forever, and ends up winning that for his first win in years with the FedEx Cup. I think it would be total justice for all those times he's booted. But, maybe there's a little something to the fact that he can't close.
I wrote that up this week. I put him in one of my DK Live blurbs this week, and I was just kind of like, he's probably not going to win, but I mean, can you argue with like
a second place or a third place?
Like, what are his odds for a top 10? Like, it's astronomical. Like, you make no money. It's like a Mayweather McGregor line for him to top 10 this event. So I'm fully with you on that. I'm probably gonna fade Hideki. I don't know. He just, speaking of like being there and watching, I went to the Northern Trust a few weeks ago, and we followed that group around for a little bit. And it was like a completely different guy. I mean, obviously he bounced back at the Dell. I think he was like at least top 25.
Yeah, he finished 23rd. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have, he did bounce back from that, but I have a hard time trusting that putter. And if he's a little bit off with his ball striking, like and the putter leaves, like, he's a bad golfer. Like, there's no way around that. Like, that's horrific. Like his own, just watching him putt, like even practicing putting, I was like, Jesus, this guy, like, it was bad.
Fighting the stroke basically is what it seems like at times almost.
Absolutely. It looks like somebody has like a string attached to his putter and is like yanking it and like screwing with them, like while he's trying to putt. But
well, I like it. It's one of those weeks, what I mean? Like we said, there's no cut. You really do have to take a stand, and I could understand that. You're gonna lose it, and you're gonna say, "Screw you, Hideki." I get it.
Right.
I get it completely. I like it.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm all over Day and Casey as well. And if you're putting in a ton of lineups and you want to throw a couple darts at Rory, I'm not going to be mad at it, but I'm definitely not going to suggest it either. Like, there's no way. I can't do it. I don't have the bankroll to screw around and start playing Rory.
Right at this point. Yes, this could be his last. I mean, this is theoretically. This could I think he's got to finish in the top 4 or something to move on till next week.
Oh, yeah. I was actually just pulling that up because I was trying to find like a little narrative street that I could pull out here. But yeah, I mean, he's 51st right now, so he's a pretty long shot to play at East Lake anyway. So
right,
yeah, that would be. I mean, he has that upside. He could finish in the top 5, but I'm not trusting.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, let's get into some guys now down in this 8K range. Like we need some savings, right? We love all these guys up at the top.
Right.
And it's important to note, I mean, if you haven't looked at the salaries yet and you're listening to this, the min salary is $6,900 this week. So we're not kidding around about not being able to fit like 2 of the very top guys. It's literally mathematically impossible. So we do need to find some value in here. So maybe 1 or 2 guys that you really like in this range, and a guy that you're not feeling as much.
That I'm not overly sold on. Okay, yeah. For sure. I'm just gonna go straight to Captain America at 8,000 and say, that's Patrick Reed. In case you were wondering.
I hope everybody listening to this knows.
That's very true. If you don't know who Captain America is and you're playing DFS golf, you're definitely doing it wrong. But yeah, I mean, 2 out of his last 3 events, he played well at the Dell. At the Dell. And I think that this is the time of the year where Patrick Reed, especially with team play coming up, Patrick Reed starts to hone in a little bit more. Maybe he practices a little more. Maybe it's just too hot for him in the summer, and cool weather is his game. No, it can't be the case. He finished 2nd at the PGA. It was hot as shit there. I just like that. I like this guy's game. I know he wants to go out. He's not the type of guy that if he goes out and shoots a bad round in round 1, that he's just going to mail it in here. And I think that's something you kind of have to pay attention to in these no cut events, is if someone mails it in round 1 or has a bad round 1 or bad round 2, that they just mail it in and just kind of go through the motions.
Right.
And Patrick Reed is not the type of guy to do that. If his iron game shows up, he, like I said, a little wild off the tee, he can get away with it. Iron game shows up, and we all know that he can. That, as you've seen the last couple of weeks, his putter is. There might be a little regression due in there based on the fact of how well he's putted lately. Mm-hmm. But I think he's also capable of continuing that run, because I think that's one of his strengths. And around the green, I like Reed down here as it just goes straight to the bottom for the value wise there. Next in this range, this I've had a hard time between Cantlay and Rose as to who to lean into more, but I'm just gonna go Cantlay just based on his last 2 events being a little bit stronger, a 10th and a 13th, and a really strong iron game. And this guy is burst onto the scene quite well here, considering I don't know what's he played. What's he 1, 2, maybe 10 events this year, and he has a legit chance to make it to the Tour Championship as a youngster without a win. I like it. I like it, and I like the fight there. It's impressive.
Yeah, I think honestly, like just from being a golf fan, like that's one of the most underrated parts of this season. Like all the stories are about, obviously Thomas has put together an unbelievable season and everything else, but this kid, like, he barely got to play, and he's in like the semifinals, so to speak, of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Like,
right.
It's insane. Like I I don't think that people are appreciating the season that he's put together. Like the fact that he hasn't missed a cut at all after he hasn't played in 2 years.
Right.
So I think it's awesome that what the season that he's put together. I'm 100% with you on Cantlay. I will play that guy. Like I never play Keegan Bradley, and Cantlay is like the complete opposite of Keegan Bradley to me. Like I will always play Cantlay whenever he's in the field, and it's worked out this year. So
I was going to say, at this point, there's no reason not to.
Absolutely. So
there's no reason not to.
And he does need to, he has a little bit of work to do to get to Eastlake because he's in 41st right now. So he needs a decent finish. Not, he doesn't need to like win or anything, but he could. I don't know
probably
the exact
top,
math,
at least top 8 or something. Yeah, probably up in the high 5, maybe 5, somewhere around there. So it's an impressive story, like you said. You want to talk a fade in this area or someone that I'm not overly enthralled with? I lean towards. I was going to continue to pile on Sergio here.
Thank God. See, I knew I liked you.
Okay, so he had that pretty sad round when he had to putt with his driver, his wedge, his whatever else he used, his iron, his long, whatever it was, and it kind of held him back at the Dell. But since the Masters, he doesn't have a top 10. I for his price range here. I just can't. I can't justify spending $8,700 on Sergio Garcia this week when you want to talk about mailing it in. I feel like he's mailed it in since he's won the Masters almost.
Well, and he's the second best Spanish golfer now, so he really has nothing to work for anymore. So.
Yeah, it's so true.
He's just like, damn, I finally win a major, and this freaking 22, 23-year-old kid comes up and he's like passing me in the official world golf rankings. Like, what do I need to do to get a little respect around here? But
that's pretty funny.
I'm fully with you on him. I have no interest in him. I do like, damn, I really hate saying his name, but freaking, I gotta like Stenson a little bit here too. I hate him. Like I in like the deepest part of my heart, I hate him because that I will never get the picture of him in his underwear putting with a wedge at the Arnold Palmer this year. Like that will never leave my brain. So I'm scarred a little bit, but he's turned it on a little bit lately. And I have Fantasy National pulled up now. In his last 12 rounds, he's gained the most fairways and gained the most greens of anybody in the field. So, I mean, if I know that you had mentioned before, and I agree with you that accuracy isn't like a total premium off the tee, but if you can do it, then
it doesn't hurt.
It's fine. Like that's not a knock against you. So, and he's been scoring well. I mean, he's 7th in the last 3 events for DK points. So I kind of like him a little bit too. Fully with you on no Sergio. And then outside of that, I know Zach Johnson won this before, but I don't know how I feel about that. He's, that might be something that I'm just ignoring that he's won here before.
It would be reasonable. It would be reasonable to say he won here before. That was 34 years ago. That was a different Zach Johnson.
Yeah, very different.
Outside of his John Deere, his standard, like I can't even say that that's a shock that he finished 5th there. His second at the Bridgestone was a complete shocker, but that was what he gained like 9 or 10 strokes putting that.
Yeah, just wild.
No, thank you. The other options around him, I find a way more upside in.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So let's. Why don't we keep going down this into these cheap guys here, and why don't we let's go like 7,500 and up.
Okay.
I'll start so I don't keep putting you on the spot here.
Thanks.
I told you I'm not used to this hosting business. Evan has it down. He's a pro's pro, and I'm muttering along here, and everybody will hear in the outro of the podcast, if you stick around that long, how I screwed up the intro in the first place. So I'm sure I'll have people asking me questions about that this week as well. So in any case, oh man, this is where this range sort of gets weird for me, because I think it's sort of one of those things where you can cherry pick and be like, oh, well, lately Kevin Na is 7th in strokes gained approach in the field, but then you look and you're like, but he's 64th in strokes gained off the tee. So you can make a case for a lot of these guys. I think once you get into the 7,500, like down in this sort of range, I'm not crazy about I'm not touching Siwoo Kim, because I'm sure he's going to withdraw because he sneezed 3 times in a row this week. And I can't really find a way to trust Berger. So I'm probably leaning more towards 7,600, 7,700. I'll have a little bit of Charlie. I have a little bit of, I kind of like Perez a little bit. I don't know how popular he'll be. I'm trying to pull up fan share now. Yeah, nobody's talking about Perez, so he might be an interesting GPP play for me, because I think he's coming in with, obviously he's not been a world beater, but he had a 6th at the Dell a couple weeks ago, and his ball striking seems to be coming around. So I kind of like those guys. Leishman, Perez, Hoffman is kind of where I'll focus in here. It pains me to say that I'm not in on Finau this week, because I think that's the first time those words have ever exited my mouth, but I don't think I could do it.
It's the wheels have kind of come off lately, and if this isn't like where you take away his strength here, which is his driving distance and his length, I think that's his advantage over the field. I still have a hard time looking at Tony Finau as a guy in the strong field events that is one that I'm going to go to heavily.
Right.
That's fair. I think he's a little bit, he's not far from entering that range, but I think it's going to take something to prove it to me that he is an upper tier golfer. He just seems to have those rounds on the weekend where, he might be in it a little bit and he falls back a ton. Like Tony Finau. Yeah, and Tony Finau is the guy that will full tilt you on a weekly basis.
For sure. Yeah, and I think he's played a little too much this year. It feels like he's been in every tournament. I can't think of 3 weeks in a row where he didn't play. A lot of guys will take a couple weeks off here and there, practice, hang with the family. He's just nah, I'm gonna keep going to every event. Keep playing.
Yes. Yes. No, so that's that. As far as guys in this range that I like you said, you could, he has done absolutely nothing headed into the Wyndham all year. He played well at the Genesis in, what was it, January, something like that.
That was before the Super Bowl.
Right. Right, exactly. So at least 200 and something days ago. But he's played well he's played better than he has been. He played really well at the Wyndham. He did his typical Kevin Na, screw Sunday. I'm not going to win. I put my head down and play really slow and piss everyone else off. And then played really well at the Dell last week. And when Kevin Na's on, it's his iron game that separates him. That's where he makes it up. And on a second shot course, I could see using some Na. Leishman, I'm still kind of disappointed at what happened to him last Sunday at the last event. But this guy's been a stud basically all year. I'm kind of shocked to see though that, I guess I'm wrong. He does have a fair share of top 10s, and most of them have been in the last couple times out for him. Mm-hmm. I might be on the Berger train this week.
Yeah.
It's I'm not really sure why. But if the course plays and there's scoring to be had, I'll take my chance that he'll actually show up. If it plays hard, I don't think he has a chance. I think that's why he played so well here last time, is because it was more of a scoring contest. He doesn't strike me as that guy. I mean, you can almost directly take the winning score and equate it to Daniel Berger's finish. If it's a low, if it's a high teen under, Daniel Berger's got a chance. If it's lower than that, he just doesn't seem to play well on non-scoreable courses for some reason. So.
Oh yeah, his finish position, like his R squared for finish position to like winning score is definitely like it's probably the highest of anybody that I can honestly think of. Yeah, I mean, how often does he contend when it's like a grinding like 9 unders the winner or whatever? So yeah, I'm on board with that. If it turns into a scoring fest, then you definitely would want some Berger. I'm just not crazy about how he's been playing lately. But like you said, he's also one of those guys that can just go on a streak. From the Travelers to the Bridgestone after he won at St. Jude, he was on fire, and then he sort of fell off again. So
yeah, he ran into some harder courses.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. What you said you like the Hoff here?
Yeah, I do a little bit. I mean, I was just going through it. I know he didn't have the best showing at the Dell, obviously, but I feel like he didn't. I don't know how to put this. Like he was like average at most things, and he just couldn't putt. So like I'm not. If I see like a huge dip and you're like losing a ton of strokes to the field and approach or whatever, but he finished 17th at the Northern Trust, and he basically was like neutral to the field on approach around the green, and he just made a couple of putts. Right. So I don't think he has fallen off as much as like if you just click on his game log and you see the finishing position. I don't think that tells like the whole story there.
I like it. It wasn't one particular thing. But yeah, he played a little bit. He had a little bit of he had a little bit of a lull, and then the U.S. Open hit, and all of a sudden he was like, "Hi, I'm Charlie Hoffman, and I'm going to be really good now."
Right, and he's got to get ramped up for the President's Cup now.
That's right.
He is one of the captain's picks. So
that's right. Congrats to Charlie. It's well deserved.
Oh yeah, and they gave it to Phil. Like, oh my God.
Of course they did.
Unbelievable. I mean, I love Phil, but it's like, come on, the guy has not been playing well at all recently.
No, but I think the thing was, when you looked at the other people on the list, who are they going to go to?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I looked, it was like, oh, well, they're going to take Hoffman, and they're probably going to take Phil, because no one else on this list is like, yeah, I really need Russell Henley over Phil Mickelson.
The rest of that team, man, I was watching them. They did like the selection show on Golf Channel, and I was just like, oh my God, like talk about just unreal, like young talent. You know what I mean? Like all these guys are like under 30, like DJ's the old guy of the people who qualified with like outside of the captain's picks, and he's like 32 or something ridiculous. Yes. Like it's insane. Like all the President's Cups and the Ryder Cups are going to be real interesting for the next few years as these guys are like getting into their real primes.
I agree with that. This team looks a lot stronger than it did last time it was here.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Like by a lot. Yeah.
Yes, by a lot. Do you have Bill Haas or Justin Thomas right now? Well, I think that one's a pretty easy distinction.
All right, I'll take JT, whatever, if you insist.
I know, right? Yes, boring Bill, as I like to refer to him as. Not because he's a boring personality, because he plays boring golf.
He's also tall as shit, by the way. I didn't realize how tall he was.
He is really tall. Did you see him when you went out and saw him?
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it. And I was like standing sort of next to him on a tee, and I was like, damn, he's tall as shit. And he's kind of like kind of almost like lanky-ish. Like I always thought he was kind of like chubby, but he's
a tall
dude.
He's a tall dude. Yes. You know who, when I was at this event, I think it was in 2013, and a Snedeker walked by. I was like, Snedeker's a big dude. Like, I was like, wait a second, I'm about 6 foot, and I felt he was like probably maybe a little bit taller than me. I guess I didn't he was the kind of guy that I just looked at when it's Snedeker, he's not a big guy, but that was another big guy. So interesting. You're talking about the height of golfers and their size, but the camera distorts of what we see. And plus it makes them look what they do on TV. It makes it look so easy.
Oh yeah. It's just being there and seeing like all the like dips in the fairway and the undulations on the green and everything, like just seeing how these guys just like tap a putt and it goes 18 feet. You're like, all right, I'm nowhere. Even on my best day, I'm like 30, 40, 50 strokes worse than these guys. Like at my best.
Yeah, when it's the best when you see someone in the DFS land tilt and they're like tweeting, like just some random people tweeting about how bad a guy is and how they could destroy them or they're better than them, and you're just like, no,
stop.
No, it's you're like, not.
Even the absolute worst guy, like Anirban Lahiri this week would smoke you in match play, no matter how you broke it up. So stop. Just don't tweet at him. Don't say that you're better than him. Don't say that he sucks. He doesn't suck. He might not play well this week, but he doesn't suck at golf.
Right. That guy he could probably give you 30 strokes to, most of you out there, if not all of you out there, and he'd probably still beat you in 18.
Oh yeah, easily
playing from these. So these they really are that good, and I suggest going out if you ever get a chance to go out and watch. And I don't know, did you go on a practice round, or did you?
No, I went on Friday. I went on the second round. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. They started allowing cameras out there.
Yeah, I periscoped John Rahm chipping over a green, so that was that.
That's right.
I was literally like, I got so many people adding me on Twitter. They were like, just please stop. Like, just don't do it anymore. Just show some mercy here.
I'm happy to see the PGA do that. That's a good way to help. Obviously you're going to have your idiots out there, but I think the idiots at a golf event are a little bit lower than they are at most events. For sure. Though still out there, I think the PGA allowing people to bring cameras and to film and to send stuff out, I think it only increases it. I'm a Blackhawks fan. So here in Chicago, the owner wouldn't put them on TV. Bill Wirtz wouldn't put them on TV for years. So you couldn't see any of the home games because he said you had to go watch them to see it. Well, I kind of feel the same way about this. Is then they put them on TV. People started going. They started getting money. They started getting better. They won. Now now they make money hand over fist. Well, it's because people were accessible to the product. And I think that the PGA, by doing this, is a good thing. So
yeah, definitely. And it really was a cool experience. I had gone to an open practice round when it was at Bethpage last time, but that was years ago. So since I've gotten like really into all of this, obviously it's my Sunday through Wednesday job basically, when I'm not teaching the sixth graders. It was definitely a cool experience. They do it right. Everything's set up nicely. It's easy to grab food, grab a drink, like find a bathroom, do everything you need to do. And they put on a really good event there. So definitely a cool experience. All right. So let's, why don't you want to hit like two? Yeah. You want to hit like two of your favorite guys under 7,500. Cause we have quite a few guys here, but not a whole lot of salary left to play with. So are there a couple of guys that are really sticking out at you here?
Well, there's a couple guys that there's a guy that I've been on all year for better or worse. And how he's gone is kind of how my weeks have gone. And that's Kyle Stanley.
Okay.
He's a guy, there's a guy that the iron game is, I think he's been so solid tee to green the whole year. outside of, I think an event or two, he's gained strokes on the field,
Right.
tee to green and approach. He kind of shat the bed last Saturday or 2 Saturdays or Sunday to go at the Dell, and kind of went backwards and cost me a little bit. But Kyle Stanley, maybe the putter shows up. If the putter shows up, he's really good. He's not going to get cut, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
And we've seen him go low, so I like that. As far as other guys in this range, this is the when on a no cut event, and I ask you this, on a no cut event, and you're in this range, what's the number one thing that you look for in someone? I mean, I know I hear a lot of guys talk about birdie or better. I don't really subscribe to it so much because everyone plays different courses, but I truly believe that there are guys that it's almost like I feel like I look for guys that might make a lot of big numbers, but still put up decent scores.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in something like this, just pulling up, like I'll pull up the DK points, just because I feel like that catches everything.
Okay.
It's just like an easy, I mean, it's kind of like a cop-out answer. It's kind of like when people say that strokes gained tee to green is important, but it's like, yeah, that's like literally, 90% of the fucking game. So yeah, it's kind of important. But I think that that's a good catch-all because you're not very penalized for big scores, but you definitely take a hit for the bigger scores. So like down in this range, somebody who's like jumping out at me for that would be like a Grayson Murray, because he's all way down here. He's going to play. I mean, unless he withdraws, he's going to play all 4 rounds. And even if he's all over the place, he's still going to make his birdies. Like I don't see a situation where he's not going to end up making his birdies. He's scored well on par 5s recently, so I think he can attack the par 5s that we were speaking about before. Even like just like guys that aren't going to be owned. Like, are people going to be on Hadwin this week? Because he scored well on DraftKings his last few times out. So that's kind of what I'm like targeting. Even Johnny Vegas, honestly. I mean, he didn't do well. I mean, like an overstatement at the Dell. He played like garbage, but he was playing reasonably well leading up to that. He lost his putter, not literally, like figuratively. He lost his putter, and that's how he goes. If he's not putting at all, like look at the PGA. He lost like 6 strokes putting and he missed the cut. But every time he's been positive putting in his last 5 starts, he's won 17, third. Like that's what I'm looking for, like that sort of upside. Because like you said, you're guaranteed 4 rounds unless something crazy happens, which you can't account for anyway. So
like kind of like the bipolar golfer basically is what you're looking for. They got, we're not necessarily going to flock towards Bill Haas down here because Bill Haas is a grinder. Per se, I guess would be the way to put it. He's not going to go out and not that any of these guys can't go out and score. Hell, see, that's a thing here. I mean, like, look at, who's the guy in DK golf that we've heard for years just doesn't score enough, but is generally a good golfer. Obviously, had a really crappy this year, but like someone like Jim Furyk.
Right.
He doesn't score enough, doesn't make enough birdies. Last time Furyk played here, he played here in 2013, he shot a 59.
Right.
So it's like, I guess when I go into this range, I can get behind like a stance like Murray. My thing is almost like I'm just going to look at straight iron play and kind of look and say, okay, putters, they get hot, they get cold, but iron play, I think that's something that if it's on and they're putting it close, that's why I come to Kyle Stanley or a guy like Molinari, maybe someone like Stuart Sink. The last couple times out, they've been solid with the approach game. But I don't know. It's just it's one of those things, and I don't think there's a right answer to it because I really believe that this might sound a little odd, but I think in events like this, it's just a total crapshoot. at times.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
the cut is where so much of your equity comes when you play DFS golf. And when there is none, it's just like, you better have the winner, you better have the second place, and you better have better have 3 or 4 out of the top 10 if you want to do anything in a GPP, like at all.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally with you there. So if you're thinking that way, then are you interested in my boy Hudson Swafford at all this week?
Oh, absolutely. Hudson Swafford,
because he's a guy that's popping with his proximity recently. So
yep, and that's
that might be.
Yes, I can get behind that. Hudson Swafford is absolutely freaking terrible if he misses the green. He's got to be near the bottom and around the green, scrambling.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But that I'll accept, because if he's hitting greens, he's going to be scoring. If he's not hitting greens, he's going to be terrible. That's just the chance you take. And he has. I mean, he went through a terrible stretch. He won the career boat. That was this year. And then
I know that seems like 2 years ago, but
right, it really does. And then just had a total terrible stretch, and then popped up randomly at the Bridgestone and the Dell. Yes, I'm 100% with you on a guy with not many options in this area. In this low end, I could see a fair share of Swafford and Murray or maybe like Xander, someone down there like
yeah.
But like guys like Cameron Smith, no thanks. Sean O'Hare, no thanks. I love you, Chucky Three Sticks, but no thanks. There's just certain, Sung Kang, Deschamps, Lee, like a lot of these guys just don't do it for me in any way. So I love your boy Hudson Swafford. What about your 7,100 guy? What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's where I was going next. So that's the grand finale. Is you got to go Woodland this week. I mean, there's no way around it. You're making a DK donation if you don't play Gary Woodland this week.
Or you're making a donation if you play. Which way is it going to be this week?
Well, you know how well it worked out for me last time that I touted him in a 70-man no-cut event. So,
oh yes, I'm pretty sure he was one of the first groups off on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he went out by himself and probably finished the round in like an hour 45.
No, because Danny Willett and Billy Horschel played in that event. No. So Gary, yes.
Yeah, I'm
what do you
with
think
it.
Gary's strengths? What do you think his strengths are? I mean, obviously it's his distance off the tee. Does he? I mean, has he brought a putter to any events this year, or does he just like? I mean, he's rolled it well in the past when he's finished well in the beginning of the year when he played. I mean, how does someone just completely go from having a good putter to just sucking for like months at a time?
Yeah, I mean, at the PGA, he gained a little bit more than a stroke putting, and he had a top 20,
right.
22nd. So, he managed a fourth without putting at the RBC. Like this it's just insane. Like if the dude could putt, he would be right up there with so many of these golfers that we love. He would be like $2,500 more expensive if he could putt, probably.
Yes. Yes. See, and that's a good angle. That's a good angle when you come down to events like this. Just take someone that's been really good at everything and has sucked at putting and hope that his putter shows up that week.
Absolutely. And that's also really important for, if you're going to play any weekend slates at all, which I haven't really dabbled in. My dad plays it every week.
He's a total G-Gen, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's the best.
That's awesome.
He does it. He does it every week. I'm sure he's going to text me. He might even be watching right now. He'll text me and get a feel for some of the guys that I like, and I tell him like look for people who in the first couple of rounds have scored okay but haven't putted well, and vice versa. Like avoid the guys who are running super hot with their putter that they might not be able to sustain it. So that's definitely something even within the event if you are going to play the weekend slate, that's definitely something to pay attention to. You don't want to just throw in a lineup without looking at how they've done in the first 2 rounds. Otherwise, again, you're just really just making a donation. So definitely something to think about.
So our goal is target crappy putters this week that are
perfect.
down low.
That's just printing money over here.
Yes.
Oh
no, I like it. I like it. No, it's gonna be nice to kind of wrap up the actual, like we said earlier, wrap up the actual golf season. I know there's golf next week to wrap this up with the last somewhat full field. I got, obviously not a full field, a full no cut field.
Right.
See what happens this week. My suggestion for everyone out there is to kind of take it light. Maybe if you feel like you have to play more, just shift some of it to NFL. And spend less and have more fun would be my philosophy this week. I will be doing that. These no cut events, I'll probably play about 30 lineups and spend about 1/5 what I normally do.
Yeah. And I think that's fair too. And it's a hell of a lot easier to do that this week because, like you said, NFL is going on right now. Right. So, a normal week, you're like, oh, should I play some of the Euro slate? And I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce any of these names. I don't know any of these guys at all, except for like Matt Fitzpatrick or like somebody random that you've heard of before. So I'm fully with you. Speaking of NFL, make sure that you guys, if you're listening to this, make sure you guys jump in. I put up a listener league for the golf this week. And I also put up another listener league, a 30-man top 2 win for NFL Week 2. Your boy Roger took that down this past week.
Oh, so, did he?
Yeah.
That bastard.
So I was like, why the hell did I invite him into the league in the first place? I'm like, first of all, I'm sure he didn't listen to the NFL pod that I did. So he basically was just like, let me just jump into this and take everybody's money. So thanks, Roger.
Speaking of, I wanted to throw that out there. He started doing an NFL podcast with Jeff Hall.
I actually listened to that last week. It was good.
Did you? Okay. Yes. Jeff did a very good job first time. So I'll throw that out there. If you get a chance, take a listen. Fire DFS. That's who I normally do mine with, in case you guys don't know. Roger runs the site over there. He's added in a couple people to help him out. I know he was stretched really thin doing this on top of full-time work. So he's got some guys that have been with us for a while behind the scenes, but they're going to start writing a little bit more. Check out the site. It's firedfs.com. I think Roger gave me a passcode if you guys, anyone want to try it out. It's $25 a month. They'll give you access to all sports, golf, football. He does a little investment guide, little special write-ups. Passcode, it just makes no sense, but this is what he told me it is. It's A like Apple, A, and then sub. So AA sub. So I have no idea what the hell that means, but throw that in there. If it doesn't work, you can always catch me on Twitter at Wedge2424, and you can ask what the hell I was talking about. But I had a really good week in NFL last week, so I'm fading on golf here. So
yeah, that's perfect. You'll pick right up and then and head into NFL strong on the right foot after a pretty crazy week in NFL. But we will, me and Steve Halepka will get to you guys with some more football stuff on Thursday. Once again, Jason is on Twitter at Wedge2424. I'm on Twitter at MattJonesTFR. You are more than welcome to hop into the listener league with us. Leave a review on iTunes, give us a like on YouTube, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, anything else, Jason, before we get out of here?
No, I just want to say I appreciate you having me on. This is fun. We'll have to do this again when we have a full site, and maybe we can get Evan on here so we can have some direction. Though you did a very good job.
This was like a rudderless ship tonight, so I apologize for
I know people are like, what the hell are they talking about halfway through this thing? If you want serious golf, breakdowns, I'm probably not your person. I'm not very serious about anything, though I do passionately love this stuff. I actually have some thoughts that are coherent at times, but thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's good times. You're doing good work, and I'm sure you're keeping very busy knowing all the stuff you write up too. That's a lot of work, man. I've done that writing stuff in the past, and it fills a lot of time. Especially when you're not a savant writer, and I'm like an idiot writer. So.
Yeah, once over the summer I was good because I'm a teacher, so I had the summer off, and now I'm like, oh, I have to like plan lessons and like educate children, and also like be a degenerate and like research like proximity numbers from like 200 yards out for like Grayson Murray. It's like it's a nightmare.
Yeah, you gotta get those kids on that. Hey kids, today we're gonna learn about golf.
I know. I wish I was a math teacher so I could at least like swing it in there somehow. Like we're gonna do linear regression models and machine learning about golf.
What are we doing? You're just gonna give me some numbers and we're gonna figure some stuff out. Okay.
All right, man. Well, yeah. Thanks again for coming on. Apologies about the time zone confusion before.
It's not a problem.
But as always, make sure you're staying up to date. If you're listening to this right now, we're recording this late Tuesday night, so things will change tomorrow. So make sure you get on Twitter and follow the both of us so that we can keep you abreast of all the developments over the next couple days. And other than that, good luck this weekend, and don't forget to jump into the Listener League. See you.